Hey, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling, with Platinum versus, oh, let me make sure I get this shit right, the Women's Tag Team Cup Tournament, the Deadly Draw. The Deadly Draw. That fucking title is terrible. Couldn't they have cut that shit down? Oh my god. Women's Tag Team Cup Tournament, the Deadly Draw. It reeks of every name in pro wrestling that has failed as a concept. I think calling it something else, putting your heads together and coming up with something, they wanted to get all the information in there. It's not about information, it's about a brand, right? And I'm assuming this is a Brandy Rhodes thing where she's, the brand ambassador or whatnot. Yeah, they want to shorten that fucking title. They want to shorten that. I don't know. Anyway, we open with Vita Scott and Tony Schiavone. Big fan of Vita. Glad to see her here. Her commentary started off really wonky, and then got better and better as her and Tony Schiavone got more and more comfortable. Though there were a couple of hiccups that I'm definitely going to highlight when I look at the two matches. So I wasn't aware of how many matches we were going to get. Apparently it's 2. And every Monday at 7, we will get 2 more. So presumably tomorrow, since I'm putting this out rather late, we're going to get 2 more matches that will finish out the first round. And then we will have the semifinal matches the Monday after. Will we have the finals as well? Or will that be a separate thing? Or will the finals take place at All In or All Out? Or, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. So our that opening video, I want to talk about it. Because here's who they featured prominently. Now there's conceivably 16 people in this bad boy, right? 16 women. All we show is Penelope Ford, which they should, because she's a big star. Getting bigger. Big Swole, who they've been given the push. Nyla. Sure. Anna Jay. Yeah, she's easy on the eyes. And Brandy and Allie. That's all they show. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 18. Now, some of them are supposed to be a surprise. Okay, I got you. But we're really only showing the 6. And really, Brandy and Allie get a couple of appearances. And not to mention, okay, so this thing's supposed to be a random draw. But Brandy and Allie are clearly going to be together. Okay, do they explain it? We shall see. Shaul Guerrero. Hey, it's doing the ring announcing. Cool. We introduce Medusa. Nice surprise. Again, AEW is good at bringing these names in to do a thing. But here's something that people may not have noticed. It's kind of like the Eric Bischoff appearance, or even the people that they use semi-frequently who were stars in other organizations. You know who they pick? And I have to think this is deliberate. They pick the upstarts. Medusa, who's perhaps most famous for dumping the WWF Women's title in the trash on WCW television. Eric Bischoff, who's the ultimate upstart. AEW is definitely creating a vibe with these people. Now, people will just go like, oh, they're just bringing in old stars and it's so lame. They're picking upstarts. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I see you, AEW. I see you. Not a bad tone to set, right? We're the rebel group. We're the rebellious group. We're trying to topple the old boring. Pretty decent message to send on multiple levels. Brandy and Allie. Now, a lot has been made. I've seen comments on like, oh, this is so lame. They kept them together. This totally shows it's a sham. It's just a vehicle for Brandy and Allie to go through this thing. Now, that may well be true. However, I believe it's because they blew it with this draw thing. In that, the gimmick is supposed to be that Allie is cheating so she could draw the same color as Brandy. But it really didn't come across effectively, and then the commentators didn't seem to notice it afterwards. Fucking terrible. If you're gonna do the shtick of Allie is cheating so she can team with Brandy since they've teamed together and had a great deal of success, fantastic. Then make it obvious. And if it doesn't go well, then fucking shoot it again. Because the whole shtick is supposed to be they cheated so they could be together, and it gives them a huge advantage over everybody else since nobody is going to team with anybody that they've ever teamed with before. All of this should be made plain and obvious, and the story should be told outright and subtly. And they fucking blew it right from the jump. Now you're like, Steve, why are you making so much of it? We're fucking 5.5 minutes in. You haven't even gotten to the first match. Because all of this shit is the precedence that you're setting for this thing that you've never done before. And so far, what do we have? A name that is wonky and shitty. Women's Tag Team Cup Tournament, The Deadly Draw. The Deadly Draw is fucking awful, right? Then you have an opening video where you highlight 1/3 of the people that are going to be in this thing, approximately. Vita Scott and Tony Schiavone, where they try to put Vita over, but how are you going to put Vita over and you're giving her and you did this, and Tony Schiavone did the best he could with it. You don't have clips of fucking Vita wrestling? Or even pictures of her? Come on. And then Medusa says this great thing, and it's super awesome. But then she's gone and just conceivably just disappears. Doesn't even really present the cup. I mean, luckily a lot of the people when they're entering the ring made it a point to go over to the cup and make a big deal about it. That's awesome. But then you had the Inner Circle also sort of belittle it by, in their pre-show Dynamite interview, the Inner Circle basically just walked around with the cup like, it's not worth protecting. It's just this trivial thing. Isn't it funny that I've got the women's cup with me? So Again, you only get value if you attach it and if you take the care to attach the value. And if the gimmick is Brandy and Allie cheated so they could be together in this thing, then make it fucking obvious and make it a story. Penelope draws. And again, none of these people are given direction on how to respond or react to these things. So they all come up as blasé. Like none of this matters, and the draw doesn't matter. Penelope draws a color, and then Mel shows up, and she's got the same color. And Penelope and Mel do something that's very smart. They act happy about it. Cool, because it's a lot more interesting to watch partners that are like, yeah, this is a bitch I can win with. That's an easy way to put people over, whether you win, lose, or draw. So Penelope Ford and Mel are out there with Kip Sabian, and now we're into match number 1. Against Brandon and Allie. Dustin is there, and so is QT. So QT is back from all of his time away, which is great to see, and he looks good, and him and Allie are doing their thing. I gotta say, Brandy and Allie right off the rip in this match, just not clean execution on things in the beginning of this match when they did the, hand lock, double elbow drop. It looked awful. It's terrible. But Mel comes in with this brutality that immediately registers. So now we've got the story. Mel is the freaking bulldozer. And she's going to how are they going to overcome Mel? Because Penelope Ford is arguably the best solo star out of the 4. And how are they going to overcome that? Is there going to be stuff with Kip Sabian, Dustin, and QT on the outside? Those are the stories that should be set up in the beginning. Here's one of the places where the commentators are really wonky. So they keep putting over this notion that Brandon and Allie, they're kind of working together, but not really. Are they working? They're working together better than anybody, as they should, because they're the only real tag team out there, and they're on lockstep on the same page. They even cheated to be on the same team together. Why the fuck wouldn't they be working together? And that old hat story that they were doing of Brandy and Allie aren't really getting along has been thrown out of the window. They've now are supposed to be a full-fledged tag team. That's been established for 2 weeks at least. But we're still going under this old story. And again, they need an adult in the room to work in lockstep to make sure everybody's on the same page with what the story's supposed to be. Because messing that stuff up, I know you're saying, Steve, what does it matter? It matters. It matters. If you're going to do this thing, and the Women's Tag Team Cup Tournament, the Deadly Draw, God, I hate that title, is supposed to work in lockstep with AEW heels, the thing where female fans of AEW can pay a fee to kind of interact together, and this push to make women's wrestling a bigger deal in AEW. All of that. People might try to deride it or make fun of it. I think the fact that AEW is trying to cultivate female fans is really, really smart. It's really, really great because the WWE is nowhere near being able to do it. And why should you be derided for the effort you're taking to do it? And why people want to make fun. It's like, oh, you got to pay $50 on the AEW. You don't have to do anything. Right? But if you can make some money, the game, in case people haven't fucking figured it out, is when you have smaller numbers, you're going to get more money out of those fans. It's what other promotions, when they were doing really well, did very well. That's what Ring of Honor did really well, is they pulled more money out of their fans per average than your average indie. That's what you got to do. I don't hate it. I like that they're trying to do something. I don't think that these first two matches were a great exhibition for them and showed that they were on a top level. If that's the point, boy, they need to tighten up by the end, by the time they get to the finals. They do. But there were highlights, so let's go over some of those. But I just think they got to work in lockstep together. Clearly, Brandy and Allie are supposed to be on the same page on shit, okay? And so abandon this notion that they're not working well. Are they working well as a team? Mel successfully put over as the bulldozer. Allie, once she gets outside of the ring, her forearm looked great. And her selling looks really good. When she gets run over by Mel, it looks awesome. Mel, they got to do something about her fucking look, man. If they're going to make her a bulldozer, and she certainly works that part really well, they got to make her look cooler. She just looks like she's just wearing a bunch of fucking black and gray rags. They got to pick a look for Mel that works. Is that some face paint? Is that, I don't know what it is. But Mel deserves to look cooler. She just does. Allie is increasingly solid and carrying those matches with her and Brandy. Just Brandy comes in and gets to shine. That's what those matches are, and that's what they should be. I remember once when they had Allie take heat in one of their tag matches, and that's the worst one they ever had together. It's better when when Brandy took heat. Yeah, when Allie takes heat and does a lot of the lion's share of the work and the bumping and selling, it looks really good. And it does in this match as well. Penelope Ford, it just gets better and better and better and better. She's one of the few that I think would work amongst the top WWE women, who are clearly head and shoulders above AEW women overall. But again, if you look at the three best in AEW, they do well in competition with the three best from the WWE. It's just their overall women's roster, the work quality and even working things like gimmick and promos tends to be higher in WWE overall. But I would put Penelope Ford, I would put Hikaru Shida, I would put Nyla Rose on par with any of them. Yeah. And in fact, if you made comparisons, who's the closest equivalent of Nyla Rose in the WWE? Well, it's obviously Nia Jax, and I would put Nyla Rose over Nia Jax, absolutely. Penelope Ford is the one who, on the surface, I think works the best in the WWE framework, in that she's definitely on par with the look and all the rest of it, and her ring work and all of that. And I think she would definitely work in the mix. Hikaru Shida versus Asuka, you're got to give Asuka the edge slightly, but I think Hikaru Shida also appeals to a younger fan and a female fan in a way that Asuka does not, as she's presented. All right, sorry. If I'm going to do these things, I'm going to get deep into the analysis. It's worth way more than me just picking apart a match. I mean, who fucking cares? It's about what they're trying to do and whether they're succeeding or not and how they can improve in the future. That's what I'm interested in. I hope you're interested in it as well. Mel selling for Brandy, and she did a great job, looks a little fucking ludicrous. It just looks pretty bad. And that Brandy spear on Mel to win off of an eye rake by Allie, oh man, it just didn't look good. And Brandy shit-talking Mel after beating her and just ruining the fact that Mel was like this monster and then this badass, and then she's bumping all over the place and then gets beat with a spear. It just, nothing about the structure of the end of that match resonated with me. But there it is. That was match number one. So Brandy and Allie move on, which should be more interesting because they cheated to get to team together. which they did not emphasize. And I bet you now that I say it out loud here, if you saw that thing, you went, oh, no, yeah, that makes sense. They cheated to be together. Why wasn't that a thing? And I'm like, I don't know. We got an ad for All Out on September 5th. So this is going to be their foray back into the pay-per-view, the legitimate pay-to-watch pay-per-view. And it's about a month. Cool. Good for them. Brandy narrates this thing about it turns out it's eventually an ad for AEW heels, but they're showing the women and they want to participate. All this is good. It's the proper branding. We want to be a part of it. We want to participate. Sort of drawing female fans in. I get you. I see you. I thought the Aubrey stuff as referee was incredibly effective, like showing her like throwing two guys out as the referee and the crowd popping for that. Again, AEW has done something very quietly. They are as good, if not better, at putting clips together than the mighty WWE. Yet another place where the WWE seemed untouchable at one point, and now that you're seeing, no, it can be done. Just because of a younger viewpoint. Great job. Great job, AEW. We get a promo with Nyla and Vicky. We saw this one previously where they draw, and then it's Ariane Andrew. Fucking terrible name. It's fucking awful. You can't remember it. There's nothing about this sticks out. Give Ariana a fucking moniker that's unforgettable that people can just refer to her as that. And you'd be like, oh, yeah. Ariana Andrew, you know. A-list talent, Ariana, something where we can fucking remember that name, because I couldn't remember that name. In fact, I committed a rare thing, which is I usually don't write down the person's full name more than once in my notes. I just refer to them as an initial or whatever, just so I can take notes quicker. But with her, I had to write down her name again and again and again, because I just couldn't remember the fucking thing. And then that way I could have a chance of memorizing it. Then we have Anna Jay with Tay Conti. Again, it wasn't clear what her name was until she was introduced and you saw her video. Why don't they put graphics up when these people come on screen? Something that I've said about AEW again and again and again. Continue to put the graphics up. It doesn't take very much. And the sooner you can burn these people's names into our minds, the sooner that they can get into our hearts and minds. Ooh, that was deep as shit. Right? Tay Conti came to the ring. She was one of the people that sold the cup as she was coming to the ring, which is good. But then once she got to the ring, her body language went dead. She was just walking around without any kind of purpose. She didn't look like she was tuning up for a fight. She didn't look like she was nervous. She didn't look like she was excited. She was just walking around. Bad look. You have to be on all the time. You have to be on all the time. Especially on television, especially in front of a crowd. You have to be on all the time. Speaking of which, holy shit, the babyface side of the crowd did not care about this match. You could see it from when people walked out. You could see it anytime it got to them. They were not caring. That is bullshit. Someone needs to go over there with a fucking wet noodle and smack those people and fucking get them to life. That is bullshit. You're watching your fellow wrestlers do this fucking thing and you're out there fucking dragging ass in the crowd. Fuck you. Wake up, people in the fucking crowd. It's bullshit. And you did not do these women a service. It's fucking horseshit, man. Sorry I'm so mad about it, but that's just unforgivably stupid. Ariana and Anna Jay do this kind of handshake thing there. They're sort of taunting each other. Okay, it's fine. The drop down toe hold by Anna Jay looked like total shit. Anna Jay is as green as goose shit. And Ariana did not do a good job of covering that. I was glad that Anna Jay got the pin, and I'm glad with the move that she did it with, the flip over neck snap thing. I think that's a great fucking finish because nobody uses anything like it. It's so good, and you can bust it out, and it's great. I have here in my notes again, the baby face side of the crowd does not care. Horseshit, man. Tay, what do we know about Tay Conti based on this match? Her strikes are good. Her kicks are fucking brutal. Her work with Nyla was fantastic. Nyla was the best out of the four by miles. Great job. Anna Jay is green as goose shit. She takes a power slam by Nyla and just has flat legs. It's a good way to break your ankles. My God, she needs to, if she's not continuing to train, she needs to continue to train. Got to put your fucking feet down on that kind of shit. And not only is it more dangerous, it looks wonky and it looks like you don't know what you're doing. And you always want to convince us you're in the hands of masters when we're watching you on television. That's the one reason that this tag tournament may be ill-advised, because it's too easy to see the flaws. And when you see the flaws, it just doesn't come across as a professional top-level product. Now, maybe that will improve as we move on in this tournament. I'm certainly going to watch on Monday to see how the other teams do as well. But if the ring work and the small little details don't get better throughout the semifinals and then the finals, they're not doing themselves favors. They're fucking hurting themselves by doing this tournament. I know that sounds harsh. That's how I feel, and that's what I know. Cool. Ariana trying to pin somebody 3 times in a row in the same way of cover and hooking of the leg. What the fuck is that spot? Why does anybody ever do that spot? It's a waste of our time. It's stupid. It's one thing to try pins in different ways, but to just cover and hook a leg, kick out, cover and hook a leg again, kick out, cover and hook a leg, kick out 3 times in a row. What the fuck is the point of that spot? It's pointless, especially in a tournament like this where the matches are kind of bare bones and it's just sort of like hit your shit and get out and tell a simple story. Why would you fucking pin somebody 3 times? Nyla is great, though. That selling of the leg is the best. She was the best performer of the whole night out of anybody. Selling and offense. Really, really great. Tay Conti looks great. Tay Conti is somebody who has the potential of being a star. An overall women's wrestling star in AEW on par with WWE. She has a chance for it. She's got an exotic thing. The fact that she's got an accent, she's good fucking looking, and her ring work so far has been solid. And she's teamed with the greenest person here, Anna Jay, and the two of them looked good together. And in fact, I wrote here in my notes, God, I hope they win, but they probably won't. But guess what? They did. But and the more things that the commentators missed. Nyla does a drop kick. Let me repeat that. Nyla Rose does a drop kick, and it was fucking good. And nobody comments about how amazing that is that Nyla Rose can, at the size, can pull off a great looking fucking drop kick. Jesus. How the fuck do we not make a big deal about Nyla Rose throwing a drop kick? For fuck's sake. Ariana gets the hot tag, which is good because her ring work is fucking sloppy and disjointed at best. That missing that tilt-a-whirl head scissors spot looked fucking ludicrous. I can't believe that made the final fucking cut. I can't believe they allowed that to go in there. That looked terrible. Anna Jay's running neck breaker thing to get the win looked great. Tay also did some subtle performance stuff. Now I derided her in the beginning for just walking around the ring with no energy and seemingly no purpose before the match started. However, her thing here of her and Anna Jay, so it's like, what's their team going to be? They managed to pull off this win, which would be considered a bit of an upset. And Tay's subtle stuff here of both of them being really happy and then her just leaning her head into Anna Jay instantly created a bond in a picture to me. And I bought them as a team. And they were literally a slapdash team thrown together. And there was all this weird stuff about Anna Jay comes to the ring and the whole Dark Order's there. And then in the interview at the end, she just kind of dismisses it. I don't want to talk about the Dark Order. Let's talk about this tag tournament. And then it never has a follow-up question or anything to say after that. That's terrible. Somebody should have given her something else to say besides just dismissing the Dark Order. Okay, you want to dismiss the Dark Order thing? Fine. Have something relevant to say afterwards. Small details. Just a grown-up in the room would fucking make sure that was taken care of. So we can have something to hang on to Anna Jay. But I do like that Tay Conti was making something out of nothing. And sort of her and Anna Jay have made the choice of we're a team and we're in it to win it. And showing different things that bond them. I thought that was great. So we had 2 interviews. Oh, and then Nyla attacks Ariana. So I guess the 2 of them can be distracted with each other for a while. That works for me, as long as Nyla Rose is not fucking jobbing. Oh, my God. And I wrote down here again, Ariana Andrews needs a great moniker. Period. We have an interview with the Nightmare Sisters. Brandy comes across as all heel here, which again feels very much out of nowhere. And if they had emphasized the fact that the 2 of them were in cahoots and cheated to team up in the first place, it's fine. And Allie's cells on her face while Brandy is sort of bragging about herself are really good. But again, so they're not in cahoots, and now Allie's the face and Brandy's the heel. It's all a fucking mess. That shit's a mess. They just need to. It's okay to make the big choice, but they have to set it up, and then they have to emphasize it, and then they just need to go in that direction. We need to know what the fuck they're doing. And then we get the thing with Tay Conti and Anna Jay. So that ends our first, well, not our first night, I guess, but the first two of the first matches of the first round. We'll have the other two this Monday, and then we'll have the semis the Monday after that, presumably. And then I'm not sure what they're doing with the finals, if they're saving that for All In or All Out or whatever, or what's going on. But anyway, this has been my much longer than expected, because of various rants and teaching moments, look at Platinum versus, holy shit, let me make sure I get the name right, Women's Tag Team Cup Tournament, The Deadly Draw. For fuck's sake.